Hi Pisces, welcome to your fortnight forecast with me, Raphael. So I just want to say for all of you, a massive thank you so much for all of your support over the course of this year. Your keys to the fortnight are the Tower and the Chariot. Now this is a really interesting pairing for many reasons. The main one being the Chariot card is number 7. And the Tower card is number 16. 1 and 6 gives you 7. And because these two cards sit in direct opposites to each other in the Taroic wheel, the message very often when these two cards come up together is slow down because you might be heading for a bit of a spill. So obviously it's the holiday season. So, you know, take time out, take some time to rest, recuperate, some R&R as they say, all of that. But what this, you know, that's on sort of that side of the scale. The other thing here as well, this for some of you might be a really big realization that you've already won, right? Now, I'm going to say that again, right? Because sometimes, you know, when you're striving so hard for something, that you're working so hard towards something that you don't really realize you've kind of already fulfilled that, or you've already succeeded at it because you haven't taken time to really stop and smell the roses, or to look around and say, wow, okay, I'm living inside my manifestation now. Take a moment over this course of this fortnight to really slow down, right? And if there's something that you are hurtling towards, battling it out, you know, got to make this happen, do it, more, go, slow it down, right? Because the Tower card, you know, the Tower and the Chariot card basically say slow down because you could be heading for a bit of a smash, okay? So that being said, it leads me on to the heavier end of this message that I do need to get across to you. Obviously, we're going to, you know, there's a lot of people traveling at this time. There's a lot of everything kind of up in the air. It's easy to kind of be a bit absent-minded. So I just want to remind you to be present. So if you're driving over the course of this next sort of 2 weeks, which is basically everybody at some point, right? Just be very careful when you are out on the road, especially if you're in places like, you know, here in the UK, we're having a massive bout of ice and snow and stuff. So just be careful, but just, you know, if it takes you a little longer to get there, isn't it better to get there in one piece? Okay. You know, and that means the car as well. The last thing anybody needs right now is extra expenses, right? So with that said, on the brighter end of this scale, I really do feel like for some of you, this might be a moment where you kind of down tools and go, okay, everything's kind of all right at the minute. Do you know what I mean? Like it might be sometimes that really is the big realization, right? That, okay, everything's fine and it's going to be fine. Take a moment to really let that sink into your bones. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your actions and options, you've got the 9 of Swords. So like literally, right, if you're having stress over this next fortnight, aside from, you know, the usual holiday stress, this is literally like you're creating the problem internally. Get out of your head and out into the world, right? Go and see your friends and family, invite them over. This is a week for you to live in the world rather than just exist in it, all right? So stop, take a moment, take a beat, get some good rest. And in those moments where you have time to rest, don't fill it with mindless scrolling or stressing yourself out or creating more for you to do. Just take the win, right? And the win is that sometimes life really can be easy and sometimes it really can be slow. For your communications and conversations, you have the 2 of Wands. I like this, right? Now, this is, so usually when the 2 of Wands shows up as communication, it suggests an offer, an opportunity of some sort, but it's kind of like one that you have to decide quite quickly on. You may not be expecting this, and so it kind of comes up and you're like, oh crap, you know, system error, not sure what to do. What I will say to you is it could potentially, if you know you're in the work sphere and stuff, especially if this is a collaboration, if someone asks you to collaborate, someone asks you to work with them in some regard, maybe they ask you to, I don't know, anything. whatever it might be. You know, whether this is start a business, maybe to create a project or a product together, you will have to decide quite quickly. You won't have to start quickly, but you will have to decide quickly. And so I am going to say to you, if this comes up, don't get in your head about it. Ask yourself how you really feel. Does your body get excited by this? Do you feel really good about it? Or does it feel like, oh, you know what, this is too scary or it's too daunting? And I'm not saying let your fear paralyze you. What I'm saying is, do you get, like in the early days of my intuitive understandings, I coined 2 phrases to help me really understand what my intuition was saying to me. So I used to get the roller coaster gut, you know, when you go like over a thing and your gut goes, and that was always a message from my intuition to say, no, Raf, this isn't the path. Or I would get the popcorn feeling, which is kind of like this exciting, buzzy feeling in my chest. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, that feels good. That is a yes, right? So when this is offered to you, whether it's through your work, whether it's through a friend, whatever it might be, when this comes to your way, over this fortnight, I want you to check in with either of those feelings. And even if it's just like really faint, but it's in the gut, it's probably going to be a no. If it comes through and it's really, really faint, but it kind of feels a little bit exciting, that's probably a yes. All right. Learn to trust yourself. You're going to be presented with 2 paths this week, this fortnight. It's up to you which one you take, but there is potentially a very lucrative journey attached to it. Now, another way this could show up for a select few of you is some kind of spontaneous travel. Maybe a friend or a family member or a partner or whatever says to you, you know what, I really want to go here. Are you interested? Check in, same way. All right. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, a lot of you could be looking at maybe doing a work placement abroad. Maybe you're asking yourself, you know what, can I take these studies elsewhere in the world? If that's possible to you, more power, go for it. Like, I absolutely avidly encourage that, probably because it's something that I always wanted to do but didn't have the opportunity to do. If I had the opportunity to go to another country and study whatever I wanted to study as my degree there, you better believe my ass would have been out of the UK quicker than you could say flash. Trust me, I would have been out, mate, gone. So something to consider for those of you that are employed by somebody else. One way that this could show up for you, this might actually be where you start to realize just how much your workload is about to increase. There's nothing here that you can't fulfill easily, just not right now. Okay, have your break and switch off. There will be work plenty in the new year. All right, for those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this is potentially hooking in a big client or having a conversation over the next fortnight that kind of just opens the door. All right, you've got to stick with it. But again, and especially because don't forget, even if this person's just touching base with you or this client's just touching base with you, all of them and their people are going to be going on the holiday season at some point as well. So if you're there trying to constantly harass and hound them at what is essentially everybody's kind of downtime, you might end up breaking it before you fix it. The Chariot card with the Tower, all right? For those of you that are retired and no longer working for any reason, give yourself a solid talking to when you start to get too busy. Is what I want to say. All right, for your love and relations, for those of you that are single and looking and ready to mingle, you've got the Knight of Wands. I love this. All right, I love this for you connecting with somebody either on your travels or potentially, you know, if you're getting invites and stuff to parties and get-togethers. And the feeling that I get from this is you're going to probably meet somebody maybe in like the place that you least expect it. So what are the places that you least expect to meet someone? The supermarket. Let's say you go to church mass. You're not really going there for a hookup, are you? Well, it's not going to be a hookup, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not where you expect to meet someone, but it is very possible. And, you know, this with the Nine of Swords, I almost feel for those of you that are single as well, you might get talking to this person about something that feels like a challenge or an issue to you. And, you know, in your mind, you might be like, well, I've blown any shot of them finding me attractive if I'm moaning about this. But actually, this is something that maybe not necessarily bonds you, but they really see like, wow, okay, you know what, you've got all this amazing stuff going on, but actually you're human too. And that's the thing that, you know, that they find really appealing about you. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, getting back in the saddle, are we? I will say no more on that front. It's definitely the way to ease, cure a headache or, you know, or some worry or some anxiety. And I feel like maybe for some of you, that actually might be the case. Maybe you're thinking like, oh, you know, I feel my partner pulling away from me, or, you know, maybe there's no more, the intimacy has gone down or whatever. It won't be over the next fortnight. So you're good. For your money and materials, you've got the 10 of Wands. So you've got a lot of wands here. This is a lot of fire energy, okay? So it's about movement, but let it be quality movement. Let it be things that actually relax you. Like for me personally, I love to cook. I love to cook. You know, I'll put my headphones in and I'm chopping away and mixing and stirring and, you know, baking. And that's me. I'm in my element in the kitchen. I love it. I absolutely love it. Same with the garden, right? Like, okay, it's freezing at the moment and it's probably not the best time to be out in the garden, but I love it. Like, find the things that for you don't feel like heavy chores, but they're still movement based, all right? Go for a walk if you can. When it comes to your money, your finances, and your resources, the reason I said that is because you've got a lot of fire energy here, all right? Now, when it comes to your finances, your money, and your resources, for some of you could be getting rid of or paying off a debt. You could also be realizing that you have more money available to you over the next fortnight than you expected to have. So this could be really great. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the 10 of Wands is your lower back. Especially with these cards, slips, trips and falls, please be careful with yourself over the fortnight. And then when it comes to the home and environment, that 10 of Wands, home might be a little bit quiet this week, this fortnight. So I don't know, let's say, you know, let's say the kids are going to stay with the grandparents and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, the nest is empty. I don't know, you know, like you have a little mini freak out. You know, for any number of reasons. For some of you, this could be that you are traveling elsewhere for or around the Christmas period. Very possible. But either which way, interesting. With that said, from my heart to yours, I just want to say a massive thank you so much for all of your support throughout this year. It really does mean the absolute world to me that you guys show up for me the way that you do. For those of you that have been with me longer than just 2022, gosh, it really does mean the world. I want to say, if you're celebrating Yule, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, or Eid, a happy one to you. I truly hope you have a wonderful holiday season with so many blessings from me to you. Thank you again. Have an amazing rest of the year, and I will see you in 2023. Take care, and I'll see you soon.